Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Together, Jake and his friends interview talents varying from actors, directors, writers, producers, composers, puppeteers, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode, Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, when nostalgia comes alive. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh. With me, as always, Chris Bixby, Wyatt and McCullough, Matt Bingel, and Julius. How are you guys doing?
We're great.
Very good.
Very good.
Can you think that
Very awesome.
it's been 1 year since we started this?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just crazy.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you this, Jakey. How are you? How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good. You're going to mess
For
something
this
up,
episode. Well, today's guest, she is a dancer, she's an actress, and she is a part of a show that we grew up with, which is called Teletubbies as Laa-Laa. Here she is, Nikky Smedley. Nikky, how are you?
Ew.
Oh my gosh!
God.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
That's how you started off.
That's how you started off. Nobody else started it like that way. Sorry.
Perfect way to start.
Perfect
Perfect way to
start.
start. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's just great to have you here. So, to start things off, we know who you are, but for those who don't, would you care to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Nikky Smedley, and I started my career in dance and theatre and comedy and cabaret, and then I was a Teletubby.
Yeah.
And then I spent 6 years being a Teletubby, and I worked for Ragdoll, who was a production company who made it. I continued working in children's television for another decade or so after that. And then I started writing my own materials, so I perform my own stories for children still. And I also worked for a long time in education because I just got kind of hooked on children's brains.
Yeah.
And I also choreograph still. Choreograph for a children's channel called Coco Melon.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And I just wrote this.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So that's kind of things I get up to.
That's nice.
Nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
So kind of going back to the beginnings, what got you into acting and dancing?
Oh, I don't know. It was just something within me, like right from the word go.
Yeah.
I remember when I was about 3 and I was sent to ballet classes, like you said, to a nice young lady. So we were doing kind of good toes, naughty toes, and make a big window and all of that. And then the teacher came in one day and said, "Oh, we're going to do a show. And like I said, I was 3. She said, our bit will be sing a song of sixpence, nursery rhyme. And we're going to need somebody to be a very special blackbird who pecks off the nose. I wonder who that will be." And I just went, "Well, me."
That's funny.
And I wasn't being a smart ass or anything. It was just like, well, this is what I do. So it was just there. I was just born with a kind of super show off gene.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Nice.
I like making people laugh.
Yeah, we do too.
Hey.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So who are some of your inspirations?
Ooh, that's a good question. Unbelievably, I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before.
Wow.
There we go.
First time for everything.
Well, Big Bird, obviously.
Yeah. Arrow's been amazing.
Yes.
Large yellow puppet. I liked all the kind of versatile actresses, really. Actually, when I was really small, I wanted to be Sarah Bernhardt, and I wanted to act, and I wanted to be Isadora Duncan and express myself through contemporary dance. And I also wanted to be one of Pan's people, who were like the groovy disco dancers that came on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
How did Teletubbies come about for you?
For me, well, I'd been dancing for, I don't know, 16, 20 years, something like that. And
Wow.
I know I was 34, I think, already.
Yeah.
And I was starting to hurt. It's tough.
Yeah.
Being a professional dancer, it's really tough to keep yourself fit. And I started to think that I felt, I've peaked. And I felt a little bit guilty. Like, I think the people who are paying money to see me now, they're not getting the best thing that's already been. And also, I was just so sick of being poor. I was really successful in almost, in every way except for financially. And I just thought, I've got to do something about this.
Yeah.
I can't carry on, because you don't mind when you're young, you just scrabble along and everything's fine. And then
exactly.
At that age, I was sort of thinking, no, I need a bit more dosh. So I thought, well, I made up my mind. Right, that's it. I'm not going to be poor anymore.
Yeah.
My sister said, well, what are you going to do? And I went, I don't know. I'm just going to. And I just sort of envisaged, I just said, the money is coming. The money is coming. The money is coming to myself every day. And I kind of thought, if I just, you can't just sit on your ass. You've got to go out and do it. So I was doing all these different auditions and interviews and things. And I didn't mind what. I just thought, let's just try and make something fun.
Yeah.
I went to interviews for Harrods and Selfridges to be a Christmas elf, because I thought I'd be really good at that. And I wrote myself letters of reference from the Tooth Fairy and from the Easter Bunny, and a really bad reference from the Bogeyman,
Oh my gosh.
And I thought it would sort of show my commitment to the role, but they just thought I was insane. So then, while I was looking through, we had our trade paper as the stage, and I was looking through the ads in that, and there was this advertisement which said something along the lines of artists with stamina required for a new children's television program. Wow. And then it said people with unusual backgrounds or personalities particularly welcome. And I thought, who puts that in an ad?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody who would employ me, maybe. So that was the first thing. I answered the ad, and I can't remember what I said, but they called me for audition. And that was in October 1996.
Wow.
One
year before I was born. There you go.
And I went through, computer being something weird. I went through all these auditions, and it was just before Christmas when I got the phone call telling me that I got the job. So it was kind of a long process.
Wow.
Nice.
I guess similar question, because I know you were part of it. What was it like being part of the revival, doing the choreography for it?
Oh, I was so thrilled about that. Because and it was quite by chance. It happened that our series producer, a lady called Sue James, she happened to bump into Maddie Darrell, who was one half of Darrell McQueen, who were the production company for the for the rebooted series. It wasn't dull anymore. Anyway, they got chatting, some industry bash, and they got chatting. And Sue said, you should get in touch with Nikky Smedley, and she'll just sort of start you off in the way of Tubby.
Wow.
And she loves to work, which I do. So that was the thing. And we had an initial meeting, and we all got on. And so then I was involved a little bit in the casting and just in kind of conversations with the directors and producers, and then practical things like how to live inside the costume, that kind of thing. But it was great. It was really lovely to be on hand to kind of hand over. Although I have to say it was weirdly emotional the first time I saw somebody else in my suit, in my Laa. You know. Up until then, every time there was a Laa-Laa anywhere, it was me. It was always me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. And it was
right.
Like that's crazy. Like on the British Strictly Come Dancing and all that. That wasn't you, probably.
No, I think it was British. Was it Britain's Got Talent they did? But no, that's not me. That's the new lot. I am yesterday.
There you go. There you go. You're the one we're all
That'd be awesome if it did happen, though.
Yeah. Strictly Come Dancing. I know the Teletubbies did, though.
Yeah.
So Matt or Julius, why don't you ask the next question?
Mind if I ask one? Okay, yes.
Missed that from last episode.
Yeah, I know. Do you have any specific fun memories from working on Teletubbies?
Oh, lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of really fond memories. I mean, a lot of the fondness comes from when I think about our dressers.
Yeah.
And how they looked after us because we were so incapacitated, and you couldn't, when you finish a scene and you flip top head, so they just kind of, and then all the steam comes out and red splatters inside.
Yeah.
But you can't supply yourself with a bottle of water. You have to be fed like a lamb, mopping you down and everything. So, and some of those girls, they were mostly girls, not entirely, but some of those people I'm still friends with to this day.
Wow. Oh, nice.
And so it's a lot, and that's true. That's true with a lot of the cast, and a lot of the, obviously there's not that many of us cast left. But the crew, when I wrote, I kind of got in touch with as many people as I could when I decided to write the book.
Yeah.
And said, do you mind me doing this? And is there anything you don't want me to say? And is it okay if I use your real name and everything? And everyone was just like, yeah, what a brilliant thing to do. And people said things like, it's like 20 years ago and I still have never had so much fun as I had working on that show. So that's kind of lovely. And I think that comes through. That sort of comes through what you see on the screen is that we were such a great gang.
Oh, yeah.
You can definitely tell.
This may be a difficult question, but do you have a favorite Teletubbies episode or segment or?
There are several. I like Laa-Laa in the chair.
Yes.
That's one of my favorites because I think that was the first time that people eat cheese. I think that was the first time and Andy had just written in the screen Laa-Laa expletive because I am a little in real life I am a little bit of a potty mouth, so he'd obviously kind of got that in. He said, I want you to do something that's sort of child friendly, kind of bloody hell. So it was it, and I think the chair was the first time that happened.
Wow.
And I also really liked, there's one with a wall, and it's me and Poe, and it's and we come around one side, where is she then? I don't know where they go back. It's endless behind me.
Wow. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that one because that was Nigel P. Harris directed that one.
Yeah.
And he just let us run with it, and every director had their own style, and he would kind of let us go, and unless we really mucked it up, he just sort of let us carry on. So, and that's great because then you sort of get into the rhythm of it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I'm kind of curious. So I know you did Laa-Laa's voice a couple times so far, but how did the voice come about? How did Laa-Laa's voice come about?
Yeah,
we spent a lot of time working on the voices. I remember on one occasion Anne took us all for a curry, and we were upstairs in this curry house, and she was got us all up. Luckily there was no one else around. How's your voice coming along? Do it now. So and I think it was for Laa-Laa, for me, it was to do with, I thought that high pitch, that can you, there was right. And it was kind of came from a giggle, really, that kind of.
There you go.
Yeah.
And how you could talk with that same, with the same giggle in your voice. So that's what it was for me. It was wanting to sound warm and giggly, as well as behaving warm and giggly.
It's just amazing. It still holds up to this day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, why don't you ask the next?
Yeah. Do you still keep in touch with anyone from the show?
With anyone from the show? Did you say?
Didn't she? Literally just
she already said that. Jakey. Next question.
Yeah.
No, I'm like this. Dip's my man. So I'm still in close contact with John. I don't see Poi so much, but that's not for any reason apart from just busy and sometimes John. Yeah. And as I say, there's a lot of the crew that I'm still in touch with.
I know. It was sometime last year we were trying to get John on, and we have to get him on because I'd love to hear the stories and hear Dipsy.
He's so cool. Yeah.
He is cool. We're gonna get him on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the other Teletubbies actors, I know it's been a couple years now since he passed, but what was it like working with Simon Shelton, who was Tinky Winky?
Oh, honestly, I mean, there's still days I just how did that happen? How can Simon not be here? Because he was so full of life, and he was such a super gracious person as well. You know, he didn't seemingly have any kind of a temper. If he had any kind of conflict, his kind of catchphrase was, we kill him with kindness.
Yeah.
You know, he was an
everyone's catchphrase.
And hilarious. And when he took over from Dave, I mean, the major difference was when Dave was doing it, you know, you get like, take 6, take 7.
Oh, wow.
And that's, you know, it's tough in those suits. So when Simon kind of showed up and suddenly we could do it all in 2 takes pretty much every time. It was like, we love him.
Yeah. Dave.
Oh, no, he was great. It was just so sad to lose him.
Dave's awesome. We've had him on in the past, and he didn't tell us it took that many takes. Dave, why didn't you tell us that? Come back.
You had Dave on one before us.
We'll bring him back just
early
so Matt and Julius can meet him.
You're bringing on pretty much everybody back. Just
we
for
are.
That reason.
Hey, guys.
Sometimes turn 25 early.
I got this.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's turned 25 this year. Amazing.
That's right. Yeah,
guys, it's Sing and Dance with Barney, except for it's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show version. You're welcome.
Speaking of 25 years, how does it feel for Teletubbies to be turned 25 earlier this year, Nikki?
Well, brilliant that it's still there, you know, and it's still part of the culture, and that's a hell of an achievement.
Talk
about the show to this day.
And then also makes me feel incredibly old.
Yeah.
I will say definitely 365 episodes of a show. That is
wow. You can even watch an episode like every single
once
day
a year.
1 year.
That's for a whole year.
Yeah.
One
day
crazy.
For a whole year. Think about that.
Yeah. So if you were asked, would you ever like to reprise your role as Laa-Laa, like in the future?
I don't think I would be asked, frankly. But if I was, I think I would like to see how it felt now to go back in my Laa. You know, like the last time I did when I was working on the reboot, and I was kind of, you know, like showing them what to do, and I couldn't believe how immediately, like as soon as I'm in, it's like I'm back. Oof, straight in. But it would be interesting just to see if I could still do it, if it was how I remembered it, and you know, but possibly just for my own amusement rather than anybody else.
You talk about the suit. What was the suit? What was it like inside the suit?
Oh,
my kind of stock answer to that is that if you tie about 4 bags of coal to your head, wrap yourself in 40 blankets, blindfold, and put a mask on, and then go into a sauna and jump up and down for 11 hours and look really, really happy about it. It was like that.
There you go.
Oh, man.
With somebody yelling in your ear or telling you what to do all the time.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So I know you also worked on 2 other shows produced by Ragdoll, Boohbah and In the Night Garden. You were choreographer, and I think you were also a producer on those shows too, if I'm correct.
In Night Garden, I just did the choreography. I also did the kind of trained them up a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Although, you know, they were great performers. So that much. Boohbah was, I was very involved in that. So I was an associate producer for that, and even directed a couple. But
oh wow.
Yeah. Well, what was it like working on those shows?
I loved Boohbah. I really, really loved it. I had such a fantastic team of performers. They were just wonderful. And I was given, I mean, it was like a dream come true. And just went to me, I want you to make some dances. So, you know, and I was a choreographer. So I was like, well, just make dances that make sense to young kids.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we did. And like I said, and I was working with these fabulous people. And one day I just said, they fly, right? So can we go? And so we went to this amazing place in North London where Foy's, who are a massive flying company for all kinds of West End and film and what have you. and kind of a lot of my cast had a circus background, so they were used to acrobatics and so on and so forth. And so I choreographed, I think it was maybe half a dozen of the dances of flying. So we had this fantastic kind of couple of weeks when all the guys from Foy's came in, and we had all this flying equipment up in the studio and just hurtled my dancers backwards and forwards through the air. It was so spectacular. I just think I never in a million years would have thought that I'd been given, free rein to play like that, really. And I had I had the very best people to do it with.
That's awesome.
And I think it was a shame. Boohbah was a shame because it was kind of like the difficult second album for Ragdoll after Teletubbies. And, we were nominated for a children's BAFTA, but we didn't get it. I was thinking, for goodness sakes, we'll give it to somebody else this year. There's a bit of that. But it was hugely popular around the world.
Yeah.
It was huge in India. I liked it in China, so there are all kinds of territories where it did much better than in the UK. But
it even out in the US.
Teletubbies and Boohbah were huge in the US on PBS.
I don't know.
In fact, I came over to the US a couple of times to do some Boohbah live events. It's brilliant. We did one in Times Square, which was just like full of kids dancing around with me. It was really fun. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and whatever the people on Teletubbies do is amazing. Like there was a show called Brum, which I remember. Which Brum's awesome.
Yeah. So now, Matt, why don't you ask the next question? I know Julius had a turn. Julius, why don't you give the human?
Yeah, Julius, give the human
a turn.
I turn human. after all those shows ended, you pretty much became known as the Storyteller. How did that come to be about?
Well, I'd always written and created bits of theatre, and then I got so involved with the child mind and working with Anne and Andy and wanting to understand what had meaning for young children.
Yeah.
And did a lot of study. And of course, the personal research that I did for Tubbies and Boohbahs, playing with kids and what have you. And I thought, I think I'd like to have a go. And I also did a little bit of training. I went and did a little bit of study for education for early years. And that was fun. And I just thought I'd kind of give it a go. And although nobody wanted to publish my children's stories, as a live event, they've been really super successful, apart from that 2-year period of COVID, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But, and actually, I really like that. I like being face to face with the children and being able to build a relationship with them, as well as writing the material. And the really interesting thing is what they teach you about the material. Like I have one story called What Shall We Take? And it's these 2 little girls going to visit their auntie. And she's asking what she should pack. She wants to take a Christmas tree and a parrot and fireworks and stuff. And her mum's like, take a toothbrush like a normal person. And the line just goes out, but Mum says no. And this little girl in front of me, I went, but Mum says, and she went, no. And
wow.
That's brilliant. And so right, I have that, use that. So now it's always, and Mum says, no. And they love it and they all join in. So they kind of let you know how to perform it, really.
Oh, wow.
Now, obviously, with acting and dancing, I would imagine there are definitely some challenges. What would you say is like the most difficult part about acting and dancing?
Well, they're very different, really. Yeah. I mean, dancing, as I say, it's a physically tough thing.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's something about, and maybe there is something that holds true, certainly with theatre acting and dancing, is you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So for you, it might be the 30th time that you've done that particular thing, but the person who's paid money to come and see you, that's like a fresh thing, so you've got to do it like it's like it's new
right.
to them.
Yeah.
And I've always found it interesting what you can find in your head and in your emotions to sort of make it fresh every time. And it's almost like there are these kind of big moments that you concentrate on first of all. And then when you feel like you've got those big moments down, then you start to look more at the little threads and join those together and pay more attention to them. So, I think that's quite a fascinating challenge to performing.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about this briefly, but similarly, was there anything
probably earning a living is the most difficult thing about it.
Yeah. Well, was there anything difficult at all about being a part of Teletubbies? Of course, besides, like you mentioned, the costume sometimes is a bit challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Just the exhaustion, the total exhaustion of it. And, like I say, I've been dancing, so I hadn't been slack physically. I was used to hard physical work, but just that, and 11-hour days and in the heat, It's like really hot here at the moment, and people, it's so hot, I can't do anything. And I'm sort of like, hey, put on a suit, get yourself and then moan. It's just that, and you get to the end of the day and just go to bed, have a glass of water, go to bed. The head hits the pillow for about 10 minutes and then the alarm goes off and it's time to do it all again. Just so tired. And having to kind of keep it up. You just have to keep thinking about the child watching you at home. And it's the same thing I was just talking about, that for them, you've got to be new, fresh, bang on your game, because they deserve that.
Right.
Just remembering that kid who's your mate, that you share love with.
Yeah.
That you owe them your very best.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So Jake, why don't you ask the next question?
Yeah. Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to get into acting or dancing?
Do as much as you can, really. I mean, if I ruled the world, I think everybody should do a bit of dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pavements would be easier to walk down for a start off. People have a bit more physical knowledge of yourself and a bit more knowledge of and maybe sympathy for your own body. But for people, and then so people say, my daughter wants to do it, and I keep telling her not to. And I think, why would you do that? No, go. It's tough. So are lots of other things. If you have a real passion for it, then why not try?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're going to learn something. You're going to learn something that is transferable into other walks of life if you end up wanting to change your mind and do something else instead.
Exactly. So we've talked about like all these projects you've done in the past, but of course, besides the Storyteller, of course, is there anything else you're working on now that you can share?
Well, as I said, from about September last year, I started working for Cuckoo Melon.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
My nephew loves it.
So that is, and that's really fun because they send me a bit of music and I make up a dance and I learn the dance and I film myself doing the dance and then I send it to them and then they make it into an animation and it gets 53 million views on YouTube.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cocomelon's crazy popular.
Cocomelon is insanely popular.
Exactly. And I know another podcast, The Voice of the Mother.
Really?
I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I really like working with them. So that... And I also have my one-woman show, Nikkypedia, which that was supposed to premiere in April 2020. So obviously 2 years COVID. But we did a few performances in spring of this year, and then we're starting touring again in September. So that's going very well. And that's a storytelling show, but that's for grown-ups. That is most definitely for grown-ups. Children.
Don't make that mistake.
And that's great. And the audience I give the audience different categories of story that they choose, and then they choose which story within the category, and then I tell the story. And then we do that a few times in the first half. And in the second half, we kind of encourage them to share their stories as well. And it's worked which was a tough thing to do, to kind of, particularly during lockdown, thinking, when we actually get to do it, will anybody come forward with anything? But it's great. And they really do. And at the end of the show, even though the show's over, they all hang around, telling each other stories for ages afterwards, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's amazing.
Wow.
And then, of course,
Yeah.
which is out in the UK on August the 10th, and hopefully in the US.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'll
great.
definitely have to pick up a copy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
pick up a
Awesome.
copy.
Definitely.
Go back and buy it.
So, what would you like to say to your fans and supporters, whether it be of Teletubbies or the Storyteller? Yes. Yeah, that's awesome.
At that end.
Yeah. So, if people would like to contact you, where can people find you?
I have a Nikkipedia Facebook page.
Yeah.
Nikkipedia online. That's the website is nikkipedia.online, and the Facebook page is Nikkipedia 111. So yeah, and the Storyteller also has its own website, the storyteller.me.uk.
Right, which I think is how we got in touch initially. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll put all that description, all your info in the description below.
Yeah. So we're just about to wrap up, Matt. Matt, how about you ask the last question? I feel like it's been a while since you've asked it.
It has been a bit.
Yeah.
Considering you missed the last episode, I know. When this podcast, of course, is Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or how do you define nostalgia?
I think there's something kind of warm and comforting about nostalgia. I think as long as you don't live your life constantly looking backwards, I think there's something rather wonderful in remembering in a nice, warm way the things that have gone before. Because after all, life, the future is a big, scary place. So we could all, we all sort of need that little bit of, oh, that was nice, wasn't it? I remember that. That was great.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nikki, thank you so much for being the show, and I'm glad.
This was so fun.
Here's the thing. I definitely think we need to do is again in the future, and maybe have you and John on or Dave again.
Or all of them. We'll see. And it comes down to that.
We'll have the voice of Tinky Winky on from the reboot as well. Fill in the gap.
We'll see from there. And thank you so much, Nikki, for being part of our childhood, and keep up the good work and see what
we can't wait to have you back on in the future.
Yeah, if you'd like to.
Yeah, and can't wait.
If you'd like, of course.
Can't wait for what you're gonna do in the future and all. And Laa-Laa, do you have any final words?
Bye. It's time for Tabby. Bye.
That's awesome.
Oh, that is awesome.
No, but it'd be an honor to have you back on if you would love to answer.
Yes.
Sure. Goodness knows it took us long enough to get to this one, didn't it?
We'll have you. We'll have the three voices together if we can get.
Oh boy,
that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy. Everybody,
that'd be fun.
I got VHS movies here.
Well, to all our viewers and listeners, we've absolutely enjoyed our time with Nikky Smedley, and with those final words from Laa-Laa, that brings another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show to a close. Thank you again, Nikki, for being on the podcast. Yes, and for all our viewers and listeners, remember, you are worth it, and to always stay nostalgic. Goodbye, everybody.
You're worth it. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
You're worth it.
Bye, everyone.
See you next time on another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream us wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember that you are worth it and to always stay nostalgic. Bye-bye.